Welcome back to our California Climate and Politics series. I'm your host, and today we're setting sail, quite literally, into the Pacific. This is episode 12, Offshore Wind, California's bet on the ocean. California has made a bold commitment to harness the power of ocean winds to fuel its clean energy future. But can it really work? To help us navigate these waters, we have a special guest with us today. Thanks for joining.
It's a fascinating moment, isn't it? For years, California has been a leader in solar and onshore wind. But the offshore wind frontier is something completely different and potentially transformative.
Let's start with the basics. What exactly is offshore wind, and why is California so eager to invest in it?
Offshore wind means installing large wind turbines out in the ocean, miles off the coast, where winds are stronger and more consistent than on land. California's goal is to produce around 25 gigawatts of offshore wind by 2045. Now, to put that in perspective, that's enough to power about 25 million homes. It's a core part of the state's strategy to reach 100% clean electricity.
Those are massive numbers. But if offshore wind is so promising, why hasn't California done this before? What's been holding us back?
The simple answer is a mix of technology and geography. Unlike the East Coast, where the seabed is relatively shallow, California's coastline drops off steeply into the deep ocean. You can just bolt these massive turbines to the ocean floor. They'd be thousands of feet deep. That's why California is focusing on floating wind turbines, an emerging technology where turbines sit on huge floating platforms that are anchored to the seabed with cables. It's a revolutionary concept, but it's also expensive and technically very complex.
So in a way, California is betting big on a technology that's still being proven on a massive scale.
Exactly. And that's what makes this so exciting, but also so risky. Floating wind has only been deployed in a few places around the world, like off the coasts of Norway and Scotland, and on a much smaller scale. California is trying to take this concept and scale it up dramatically, which creates huge challenges in engineering, bringing down costs, and navigating the complex permitting process.
Let's talk about those costs. This sounds like an enormous investment. Who's paying for all this?
It's a combination of private developers, utility companies, and both state and federal funds. Back in 2022, the U.S. government auctioned 5 offshore wind leases off the California coast, near Humboldt Bay and Morro Bay, which brought in over $750 million in bids. That alone shows there's serious commercial interest. But the full build-out, when you factor in everything from upgrading ports and building new transmission lines to manufacturing these floating platforms, will cost tens of billions of dollars.
That is a lot of money. So what's the payoff? Why is it worth the price tag?
If it works, the payoff is huge. First, offshore wind can provide a consistent stream of clean, reliable energy that perfectly complements solar power. Think about it. When the sun sets, wind speeds, especially offshore, often pick up. This helps stabilize the grid. Second, it could create tens of thousands of green jobs in coastal regions, spanning everything from manufacturing and assembly to long-term maintenance. For some of California's struggling port towns, this could be a major economic revitalization.
And yet, I imagine not everyone is on board and cheering for this. What are some of the concerns?
Definitely not. It's a complex issue with many stakeholders. Some coastal communities are worried about the visual impact, seeing turbines on the horizon. Fishermen are deeply concerned about potentially losing access to important fishing grounds that they relied on for generations. And environmental groups are cautious, raising important questions about the potential impacts on marine life, especially whales during their migration, as well as on seabirds. So there's this delicate balance that needs to be struck between achieving our climate ambitions and protecting local economies and ecosystems.
That sounds like a classic California dilemma. trying to be a global climate leader while navigating very real local opposition and concerns.
Yes, absolutely. And it highlights a crucial point. Climate policy is never just about technology. It's about people, economics, and politics. Even the most brilliant technological solution needs community buy-in and policies that ensure the benefits and the costs are shared fairly.
So how is the state trying to address these tensions and find that balance?
The California Energy Commission, along with federal agencies, is in the middle of extensive environmental reviews. They are actively engaging with Native American tribes, fishermen's associations, and local governments to try and find common ground. They're also strategically investing in infrastructure, like the Humboldt Bay Wind Terminal project, which is being designed specifically to support the assembly of these massive turbines while minimizing disruption to the local ecosystems and community.
Let's step back for a moment. You mentioned earlier that offshore wind could complement solar power. Can you elaborate on that? Is this the missing piece in California's clean energy puzzle?
It really could be. California's grid has a major, well-known challenge, often called the duck curve. We generate a massive amount of solar energy during the middle of the day, but our energy demand spikes in the evening when people get home from work and the sun goes down. That creates a steep drop-off in supply, right when we need it most. Offshore wind, which tends to be stronger and more consistent in the evening and at night, could help fill that gap perfectly. You can think of it as balancing our state's energy ecosystem, solar by day, wind by night, with battery storage helping to smooth out everything in between.
That sounds almost poetic. The sun and the wind working together in harmony. But what's the realistic timeline for all of this? When might Californians actually start getting power from these offshore turbines? It's a long road.
If everything goes smoothly from here on out, and that's a big if the first projects could start producing power by the early 2030s. The process involves years of permitting, detailed environmental studies, engineering, and then finally, a massive construction and installation effort. It all takes time. But the momentum is real. Both the state and federal governments are pushing hard to clear the path and make this happen.
So this is much more than just a large-scale experiment. It is a fundamental part of California as long-term climate strategy.
Absolutely. Offshore wind isn't just about generating clean energy. It is about fundamentally reshaping California, its relationship with its iconic coastline, turning the Pacific Ocean from a scenic backdrop into a powerful source of sustainable power for millions.
That's a powerful image to consider. Before we wrap up, let me ask you this. If California succeeds with this ambitious plan, what could it mean for the rest of the country?
It could be a complete game changer. If California can prove that floating offshore wind can work reliably and cost-effectively at this massive scale, it opens the door for other coastal states with deep waters to follow suit, like Oregon, Washington, and even Hawaii. This is a chance for America to become a global leader in a brand new, cutting-edge, clean energy industry.
So in essence, California isn't just betting on wind. It's betting on the future.
Exactly. And as is so often the case, the world is watching to see if the Golden State can once again turn its bold ambition into reality.
Beautifully said. Thank you so much for joining us today and for helping us understand what is at stake in this bold new chapter of California's climate story.
My pleasure. It's been a great conversation.
And to our listeners, thank you for tuning in. In our next episode, we'll explore another critical frontier, nuclear energy, its controversy and potential comeback. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss it. Please share this video if you found it interesting, and join us next time.